On and off throughout my adult life, after stressful periods, I would suffer from some sensitivities and chronic symptoms. I kind of became consumed with living a healthy lifestyle in order to keep my symptoms down. And this worked for me until it didn't. My COVID infection lasted for a typical 10-day period. And then it just one day, it just hit me out of the blue. I felt like somebody had plugged me into an electric socket, like adrenaline, the stress response had just kicked in. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And then my symptoms just snowballed from there. On my worst days, I would wake up and I felt like I had the flu. I would get myself out of bed. My heart would be racing. I'd be having heart palpitations. I'd feel lightheaded and dizzy when I stood up. I would make my way to the kitchen and I would force myself to eat. I had no appetite. Um, I felt like I was in a continuous panic attack. I was very, very fatigued. I would shower and take care of myself. I was not able to work. I was self employed at the time. So I just kind of put that all on hold, but I was still able to go to the grocery store. But something like that, I had to really work myself up to do because I knew every time I would go into the stores, the lights and the vast space would trigger either a panic attack or dizziness. I would have to like grip onto the shopping cart to like keep me upright. And somehow I made it through. After that, I would get home and I would just have to like crash and rest for a few hours. And then I might be able to, then get up and prepare dinner. Every minute of the day, I was feeling like I had the flu still. It just never went away and chronically fatigued. I was losing a lot of weight because I didn't have the appetite. I couldn't exercise at all. I wasn't able to go to church because it was loud and I couldn't be around that many people. I was stimulated by anything. I had multiple panic attacks in the day. Some would last 30 minutes, some longer. I feel like I had one day where it was just one big panic attack. I had a really hard time focusing and concentrating because I had so much brain fog. I had ringing in my ears that would just like last for a long time and not go away. I had migraines. I was probably getting a migraine every week. Psychologically, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression. The really strange thing for me is it just those two symptoms, the anxiety and depression, came out of nowhere. I was even when I was sick with the actual symptoms of COVID, I mean, I didn't feel good, but I wasn't having anxiety or depression over it. And so those were very overwhelming and came on really, really quickly for me. I was 100% focused on how I felt. All the symptoms that I had were so overwhelming that I was not available to be there for the people that I normally would be there for. And it just was all consuming. And I just didn't have any quality of life at that time. Yeah, there was a lot of tears and just disappointment. Like, how did I get here? I started out seeing my medical doctor. All she did was verify that, in fact, my COVID illness had gone and that, I could take some medications if I wanted to, which I didn't choose to do. I started to see a functional practitioner and a chiropractor at that time. So I was taking lots and lots of supplements, getting chiropractic treatments. I was doing elimination diets. When those things didn't work, I tried neurofeedback for my brain, but that was overstimulating. I ended up feeling worse from that treatment, so I had to stop that. I did EFT. I did some, I bought like a brain stimulator, like I would wear it on my head and it was supposed to stimulate serotonin and things like that. And that actually put me into a panic attack. Um, I did acupuncture, cranial sacral. I did massage therapy, herbal and Chinese medicine, um, lots of meditation, yoga. Yeah, altogether, I believe I spent tens of thousands of dollars on all of those treatments. I ended up doing an in-depth mold detox protocol. I was super sensitive to a lot of the supplements that I was taking. So it was taking me twice as long to go through the program because every time I would take a supplement, I would have a bad reaction and we'd have to back off and slow down. And honestly, I was done at that point. That was probably where I said, I can't do that anymore, because that was really, really hard for me. I found out about DNRS through a therapist I was working with. You know, she mentioned it to me, and I was just like, yeah, 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 another program, another protocol, another whatever. So once I had gone through this mold protocol and I had reacted so negatively to that, I was like, I just can't put another supplement in my body. I just don't want to see another doctor. And I Googled DNRS and I found Annie's program and I came to like the self assessment and I took the self assessment. I'm like, yep, 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 yep. And I'm like, what the heck? Not that much money considering everything that I have spent. And I gave it a go. Once I started, I just knew that this is where I needed to be. And I was like, I'm going to get better. I knew from day one. I would say within the first week, I already was sleeping better. And within, the month, I felt like the cobwebs were starting to be swept away and I could think a little clearer again. I was starting to walk further distances. I think within the first month, I was walking a mile and a half outside in the heat, which was like, yeah, wasn't happening before. And that was like a really big milestone for me. And then I started doing short hikes, probably maybe about 2 months in. And although I can't say that I had like this, like, oh, I just kept getting better and better. There were days that it was like hard still. But because I was seeing these little improvements, it just kind of kept me going. By 6 months, I was doing everything I wanted to do again. I was laughing again. I was attending church like and being like, this isn't loud at all. This isn't bright at all. What was I like thinking before? I was going to football games, concerts, outdoor concerts. I was at 3 months, I was planning vacations. I had like hope for the future. I had gotten a job and so I was traveling for that job on my own. Yeah, I was riding bikes, um, doing longer hikes. We hiked up Rainbow Falls. It's just this really beautiful waterfall. And it was so cool when I got to the top. I'm like, yay. I kind of felt like, yeah, I've arrived. That was one of my 6 months goals that I had when I started the program. So I started noticing things around me and seeing them in a light that I don't think ever seen in my life before. So um, I also was surprised that how easily I started to become playful again. And now I'm like, I flip cartwheels outside in my backyard, and I dance around the house and my kids kind of think I'm kooky, but I don't care. I mean, mom's gonna laugh. My kids are teenagers, but I can embarrass them, right? So now yeah, I act like a kid again. I feel a sense of calm and peace in my body that I haven't felt for quite some time, even before COVID. Um, I think clearer. I can focus better. I'm just happier. I no longer fear gluten. I no longer fear dairy. And yeah, I eat what I want when I want without any issues. So I am forever grateful to Annie and the DNRS program for giving me the tools I need in a system that works for me that I can use for the rest of my life. And that is what I had been searching for so long. And I feel just such a sense of freedom and relief that I don't ever have to struggle the way I have in the past. I would tell anyone who is suffering from long COVID, anxiety, depression, chronic fatigue, do not be afraid to try the program. I know that you don't want to try another thing. I didn't either, but the program works. If you give it the time and the effort, put the effort in, you're not going to be regretting this. It changed my life, and I know it could change yours too.